And we're back for part 2.
Last time on My Wife Makes Me Read Smut.
Do you think I would let any harm befall our eggs?
A tentacle unfurled to reveal a sweet shining oval in example, much like a gleaming black chicken's egg, just a bit smaller in size. Shit, it's beautiful. Grinning, Eddie let his head drop back onto his pillow, waiting with bated breath. Of course I don't, love. For all Venom sounded put out, Eddie could feel fondness and amusement swimming between them through their bond. And arousal, of course, coming from his symbiote as well as himself. A whole lot of that. Don't make me wait.
Does it have to be so breathy?
I'm just trying to tell the story. God. So I crack up laughing every now and then. I'm a storyteller at heart, damn it.
Okay.
This was your idea. Okay, don't make me wait.
I should.
Venom threatened. There was a feeling of tentacles parting his ass cheeks again. Another whooping breath at his waist. Another whooping beneath his waist to raise his hips that bit further, his legs resettling in the stirrups. And then there was the cool surface of the egg resting against his asshole. Without moving. Please. Eddie wasn't above begging. Please, V. Please fill me up. I want them.
Oh, I suppose.
His grin crooked. Venom gave off the impression of rolling his eyes. And then there was pressure. Delightful. Wonderful against the rim of Eddie's ass. And the feeling of his hole stretching at the unfamiliar shape and texture. He found he was grunting.
God, it's so uncomfortable.
It's so uncomfortable for you by how, accurate I'm trying to be?
Yeah.
Good! He found he was grunting, his whole body shaking, seeking to undulate in response to the gentle, inexorable invasion. Until the egg slid past the resistance, and Eddie's ass seemed to... simply swallow it, sucking it in. His voice broke as he cried out, right on the very edge of orgasm.
Not yet.
Venom grabbed his cock, tugging it in reprimand.
No, Eddie.
Help me! Help me not come! I'm not super familiar with the character Eddie Brock from the movies or the comics, but I don't know that this is in character for him. It is a fan fiction, after all.
You don't know.
I don't know. Eddie screwed his face up, grabbing onto broad shoulders the instant the tentacle cuffs around his wrists melted away, freeing his arms and hands.
Happily.
Venom stooped down and swallowed Eddie's dick easily in one gulp, teeth digging harmlessly into his host's belly and thighs. Eddie's cock dwarfed by the size of the symbiote's mouth. "How is this helping?" Eddie all but shrieked, panting gleefully, gratefully, when Venom next hummed around him, tongue soothing over the length of his shaft, lessening his need to orgasm, coaxing it back to a tolerable level, while leaving all of the arousal. It was all very strange. The first time they'd done this, Eddie had almost gone out of his mind with how wound up he was, and continued to be for a long time without the relief of orgasm. It had felt like it could go on forever, and much like it actually had. before his symbiote had taken pity on him and let his body spill over into an orgasm that wiped the two of them out, leaving them trembling and gasping in bed for a good long while after. Eddie felt much like he was going out of his mind with desire now. Make me limp again, please, he requested, biting at his lips as he felt his cock lose its hardness but none of its sensitivity. Making it more sensitive, if anything. Especially when Venom dissolved the sound and plug, I forgot about the sound, retracted his teeth and progressed on to really playing with the glands and the shaft. There's that word again. As a man who has a penis, this is so irreconcilable in my head. Just being so close to orgasm and then just regular ass soft. It's hard to wrap my head around it. Imagination. Fuck, yes. So good, V. Eddie clawed at his symbiote's shoulders, working his legs up out of the stirrups to angle his feet up around Venom's back as best he could.
Don't lose focus, Eddie.
Venom pressed another egg into Eddie's asshole, even as his tongue flicked and twisted around the dick in his mouth, sucking at it hungrily, the symbiote letting out rumbling growls as he lapped up the steady trickle of pre-cum. Oh, not much chance of that. Eddie felt entirely focused on both his cock and ass, and the two eggs inside of him now. The second one nestling up against the first. He couldn't even begin to think of anything else.
I'm glad to hear it.
Venom released the weight around Eddie's balls, gripping them with thumb and forefinger instead. A comforting hold that Eddie moaned his appreciation over, before practically choking on his tongue when the symbiote sucked almost too hard at his limp cock. It felt like Venom was trying to fucking milk him for all he was worth, like Eddie was just there for Venom's pleasure. That when he got hard again, he could come and come and come, and his symbiote would just keep going.
Is that what you want us to do, Eddie? When we've finished stuffing you full of our eggs.
Venom raised his great head completely unnecessarily to inquire, leaving Eddie's dick to grow rapidly back to full hardness with extreme enthusiasm once again, the length of it slick with saliva and pre-cum, sticky and bereft in the cool air between. As the symbiote moved back. Do that tomorrow morning, Eddie suggested. More of our eggs now, please. There are more, aren't there? He wants to be a mama hen. He scrabbled for his symbiote's retreating shoulders even as tentacles set his limbs gently down on the sweat-soaked bed. V?
Of course, Eddie.
Venom's voice was reassuring. He flipped Eddie over on the mattress, angling his host so he was face down and ass up.
There are plenty left.
As if to prove it, he angled a third egg against Eddie's hole. Yes! Eddie chewed at his pillow. As it was worked in tenderly to the first two. It felt bigger than them. Brilliantly so. So big he was almost afraid for a moment he couldn't take it. Oh, of course you can, champ. Gasping throatily when a tongue circled comfortingly around his rim, licking both at his ass and at the egg, until Eddie's body flexed and the latter popped in. Fuck!
Good.
Venom ran a broad hand down the length of his back. Fucking fantastic. Frankly, Eddie felt stuffed, full to the brim with their eggs, rubbing his face joyfully against his pillow, wondering how the hell he was supposed to move around while so full up. Something occurred to him. But you said plenty. There's more? Venom's tongue toyed with the strands of hair at the nape of his neck before whisking affectionately over his ear.
Oh, yes.
Shit, Eddie whined a bit. I don't know if I can take them, V.
So uncomfortable.
You deserve it. He wanted to. Fuck, he so wanted to, but... He got up to 3 before, but those were smaller in size and easier to take. The thought of taking 4, especially if the last one was as large as the third. He moaned heartily in frantic approval.
You can manage a 4th,
Venom said confidently. And so Eddie found himself doing his best to rip the sheets. Back to biting his pillow. Muffling his cries as Venom rubbed his back and stroked his hips and eased him through it, telling him how well he was doing, how good he was being, how lovely he was. I wasn't that comforting when you gave birth to our kid. Venom, Eddie bucked frantically into the large hand that closed around his cock, vision blurring, as his ass accepted the last ball.
Well done, Eddie. You did it.
Venom turned him back over, slowly and carefully, arranging Eddie underneath his huge form, Eddie's feet tangling in the duvet. He's a fucking mess. His body trembling and sweat-soaked as he looked up at his symbiote hopefully, raising his arms and lifting his chin. Kiss me.
Of course.
Venom bowed into him, glorious warm emotions pouring from him to wash over Eddie as they kissed. So much pride and want and love for his host. For Eddie.
Aww.
So beautiful. Are there still any eggs left? Eddie was back to panting when they parted.
Yes.
Venom cocked his head at him.
Are you willing to...
Yes, Eddie interrupted. Hand on his belly, he chewed his lip. Not here, though.
They're just little eggs.
Oh, no.
Venom held one up, shrinking... Oh, God.
You ready?
Yeah, of course. Of course! Venom held one up, shrinking it down until it was really quite tiny. Just the right size to... Oh, I wonder... Fuck, Eddie found himself practically drooling at the bright idea that struck. Will you put them inside my dick? He couldn't writhe nearly as much as he wanted to. The pressure of the larger eggs in his ass holding him still against the bed. Pretty please, love.
Because you asked so nicely.
Venom grinned, amused. He took a careful hold of Eddie's dick again, angling his broad shoulders to let the light fall on it. A tentacle going under Eddie's head to raise and cushion it at a better angle, so this time he was able to get a good look. Can I? I want to too. Eddie held a hand out.
Sure.
Venom passed him half of the little eggs. I'm imagining M&M's minis.
Like,
which is still kind of big for a dick hole.
I was imagining like hummingbird eggs.
But what do I know about it's big enough for a dick hole? My dick hole's a virgin. Venom passed him half of the little eggs. The tentacle tucking down around Eddie's shoulders to prop him up further, and together they fed the small spheres, one by one, into Eddie's slit. gasping and mewling and whining between his teeth at the slippery feel of it, fingers skidding in pre-cum and whatever it was Venom produced to act as lube.
Would you like to come soon, Eddie?
His symbiote inquired as they worked to fit a slightly larger egg in, Eddie's urethra feeling puffy and stretched. Jesus fuck. His slit gaping as he shuddered and keened. Yeah, but he was so fucking turned on, he was going to explode the instant Venom stopped doing whatever he was doing to hold the orgasm back. What then would happen to the eggs?
I think I have a solution.
Venom curved him in a way that proved he hadn't bothered to make himself a spine, licking up drops of pre-cum that dabbled the curls around the base of Eddie's cock, shifting his grip on his host's balls so he could lap at them as well. He grinned at Eddie.
Just look at you, my delicious banquet. Do you know what I like to do best with eggs, Eddie?
What?
He formed the familiar small version of his head on the end of one tentacle, while a much thinner tendril shifted into a third, even smaller head. All three faces winked at his host. Eat them? Eddie guessed, cracking up.
Yes!
Venom answered in three voices at once and sent his two smaller heads burrowing inside his host, one burying itself in Eddie's ass and the other slithering into his urethra, tiny mouths working to gobble eggs down greedily. Oh no. Fuck, got me! The feeling of the first egg bursting inside his ass had Eddie yelling as loud as he could, orgasm igniting in the base of his spine. Rushing hard and fast and unstoppable throughout his body. Great flares of overwhelming sensation going off in him, anew each time Venom ate another egg. He was a happily sobbing, limp puddle of a man by the time Venom was through with him, his symbiote spreading up over Eddie's exhausted limbs like the very best of warm blankets snuggling against his host.
All right.
A fond tongue licked at his cheeks. Yes, I'm fucking bloody alright. Does Eddie Brock say bloody, or are they imagining this is Tom Hardy?
I don't know, man.
I don't know, man. I don't even remember what he sounded like in the movies.
He had a Brooklyn accent.
Yeah, I was just trying to do some kind of Tom Hardy, but it's all fucking gaspy and fucking insane with lust. I've been reading it. Eddie managed to revive enough of to grapple at his symbiote until Venom formed enough of a head and body to be dragged into a kiss, mashing his small human mouth against Venom's great dangerous toothy one until that tongue thrust out and introduced itself to Eddie's own little tongue and the roof of his mouth and teeth. It's cute. He had to break off to cough a bit when it sought to make friends with the back of his throat.
All right.
Venom repeated.
Was it what you were hoping for when we made our agreement?
Hell yes. Yeah, dude. Fuck yeah, dude. All these reactions, man. Eddie gathered as much of him as he could into his arms, hugging him hard. Best sex ever, love. Best sex ever. They're straight up writing him like Tom Hardy. Best sex ever, love. Or I can't do whatever fucking accent he has.
Oh, good.
Venom grinned against Eddie's neck, rippling with contentment and pride.
Great.
Eddie stilled, barely noticing. Belatedly noticing something. A feeling of pressure still deep in his cock. He groped a hand down to give it an inquisitive tug, shivering at the overstimulation as something shifted inside him. What's... A certain suspicion went off in his brain. There's...
Still an egg left.
Venom finished for him, albeit a bit carefully.
Yes, we think your body will incubate it quite nicely, Eddie. As it grows, we could work it down into your balls for more room. It would need to be fertilized, though, of course, if you agree.
Of course. Of course I'll be pregnant for you.
Is that what he says?
No.
Oh,
that
okay.
was me. Eddie agreed a bit faintly, even as he cupped his balls, imagining a baby symbiote growing there, nestled in its little egg in the base of his cock. Something occurred to him. Wait, how am I supposed to pee in the meantime? And what do you mean fertilized? He shot a look down at his lap. With my sperm? His mind hung up on the possibility that they could actually genuinely make a kid together, a whole new being, part him and part Venom. Fucking bloody hell.
Oh, Eddie.
Venom nuzzled into him, relaxing enough that Eddie belatedly realized just how his symbiote had tensed.
Would you truly want to, with us?
Fuck yes, I want to. Eddie found he was clutching at him fiercely. Don't you dare tell me you were joking, love. Back out, he caught himself. Unless you were joking or are, regretting it or not sure. I don't want to push you into anything. Definitely not anything big like this. It's just, I don't know. Like, communication's important in a relationship.
Also, this is just not the time.
I'm noticing, we're almost at the end here, but I'm noticing they didn't really describe how Eddie, ejaculated? Or did he at all when he came finally?
It could have been a drag orgasm.
I guess, but it's like, I thought it would be funny, because just to describe the gallons of cum he must be coming out. Anyway.
Eddie, I want to.
Venom interrupted quietly over this uncommonly serious, all the external parts of him stilling against his host, his tone almost vulnerable for once.
I want to do this with you very much.
I guess we've got a lot to talk about then, huh? Smiling so much his cheeks hurt, Eddie flapped a hand out for the water bottle on the side table. A tentacle nudged it within reach, propping his head up so he could drink. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Venom cuddled back into him, a little tentacle looping idly around Eddie's cock and balls.
Rest first.
Yeah. Smiling helplessly with affection, Eddie tangled his fingers around another, snuggling back likewise. Love you, V. Venom purred against him, all warmth and good feelings flowing back and forth between them through their bond.
Love you more.
Aww.
The end. Another masterpiece theater. Oh, man.
Eggs in your pee hole.
A little caviar.